Yucatan to U.S. Rapid COVID-19 tests for travelers. In accordance with measures recently imposed by the U.S. government in its strategic plan to combat COVID-19, the government of the state of Yucatan, led by Governor Mauricio Villadosal, has prepared to facilitate the transit of passengers bound from Yucatan to U.S. with the installation in Mérida International Airport of a module for rapid antigen tests that meet requirements set by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. With the support of the Ministry of Tourism Development Cefotur and the Ministry of Health of Yucatan SSY, as well as Grupo Azur and in coordination with various airlines that operate international flights, this initiative is carried out to provide facilities to all those travelers who, after visiting our state, plan a flight with a final destination or transit point in the U.S., since it will allow travelers to undergo a rapid antigen test for the detection of COVID-19, thus complying with U.S. entry requirements. On January 21, President Joe Biden signed an executive order called National Strategy for the COVID-19 Response and Pandemic Preparedness, which stipulates that all those who wish to enter the U.S. must present a negative test for COVID-19, in addition to the mandatory use of a mask, among other measures. More info can be found at www.whitehouse.gov. This module at the Mérida International Airport is an additional option for travelers who have a final destination in the U.S. and who have not been able to take their test previously. It will be operated by a private laboratory that meets the requirements demanded by the health authorities of both countries and will be providing service from January 26, the date the CDC decree comes into effect. In addition to the operation of this module, some hotels will be offering information and service with different laboratories that meet the necessary requirements for taking tests at their facilities, as well as other facilities for those tourists who prove positive. These services vary from one establishment to another, and travelers should consult with their hotel. Tests will be available at the Mérida Airport and in the state's hotels and laboratories. There is a cost to them, to be covered by travelers. Passengers must present their boarding pass for travel into the U.S. Travelers should note that travel requirements are unique to each government and they should check with official sources to have the most up-to-date information. These actions help us to continue consolidating Yucatan as a benchmark for good sanitary practices and the construction of sanitary bubbles that provide reliable alternatives to our travelers and protect the health of Yucatecans. To date, Yucatan has implemented its sanitary certification protocol for tourism service providers throughout the value chain, with more than 1,200 companies, establishments and providers certified with the same biosafety standards, including guides, tour operators, agencies, carriers, venues, restaurants, hotels, the cruise port terminal, bus stations, airport and airlines, among others. The Certificate of Good Sanitary Practices is one of the most robust programs of its kind, allowing for the Yucatan to be the second state in Mexico to obtain the endorsement of the International Safe Travels seal awarded by the World Travel and Tourism Council. #RebuildingTravel